Right, so in video 106.3 we've built the chassis of a plastic trike, and now we're going to add the steering and wheels, which to be honest will pretty much finish it, okay? The steering, remember, we put these in because we're just going to use push rods. Now you've got a whole host of things for push rods. I mean, you could use plastic pipe, copper pipe, or this stuff. I buy this in my local store, and it's steel pipe. It's 12mm diameter steel pipe. And it costs about £3 or £4 for a metre length. And basically, you flatten one end, bend it over your knee, and drill a couple of holes in it, and you will get this. So it's just a bent bit of pipe. Obviously an 8mm hole, so that goes on there. And a nut. And we have another bit of pipe, and here we've drilled a hole in the bottom, a hole about a third of the way up. That bolts on there like that. There we go. And then this hole here comes to somewhere on the top there. Now we're going to use a 10mm bolt, which will go through there to hold two sides. Now that has to pass through something, so what I've done is I've made a block of 5 circles of this plastic, drilled a hole through it, that will glue on there, and the bolt will go through that hole. Now the bolt is going to be a bit unstable in something like that, so I've got another bit of my pipe, and the pipe will go in there first and the bolt will go through that hole. And there is my steering. So if you watch that and I do that, we can actually steer this thing. I think that's kind of cool actually. Okay, so now what I need are some wheels, and I need 3 of them obviously because it's a trike. What I do have are these. These are wheels left over from a project that Luke did, and I plan on using them here. Now obviously I need to attach them to the frame and to each other to give them some stability, but of course they come with this thread on it here, and luckily enough you can buy these things. These are extension nuts, and they fit on nicely on there. It allows me to put a bit of bar through to it and then a metal sleeve on that bar, and I'll get those actually connected up and we'll have a run. Now I can put an L bracket on there, and that L bracket will then bolt to this, and then we can bolt the L bracket straight onto the plastic frame that we've made. There's actually a ton of ways you can do this. I mean, we could use L brackets, we could use flat brackets, so the bracket comes down there and then goes up. We could use a bracket like that, so the bracket comes off the plastic and then down. So there's just a load of ways of doing it. Mostly what you need is some kind of bracket that the plastic can rest on and be bolted to, and then something to join the 2 wheels together to give it stability and stop it going like that. Anyway, I'm going to make that frame up and attach it to our plastic frame, and what I'm going to do first off is attach some threaded bar. And there's my rear wheel set put together. Now this is a bit of threaded bar with some metal sleeve on. There's the extension nuts, and as you can see the wheels are just bolted straight into the extension nut. Now on this side I've actually left the chain because I might drive that wheel. It'll cure a lot of problems actually driving only one wheel, but that's the wheel I might drive when I come around to doing it. Now I had this piece of steel, so I use this bit of steel, but an angle bracket that goes to there would do just as well. Now we need to put some pads on here and attach that attach the rear of the chassis to this. So another thing actually I love about this stuff is not only can you make sort of finished products out of it, but it's really adaptable. Now I made that wheel set, and actually I loved it because it was the first time I ever made something like that. And I was looking at the trike and I thought, yeah, okay, I could struggle on and do the forks at the front, but do you know what? It took me 10 minutes to make that wheel set up. It really was a couple of bolts, some threaded bar, bend a bit of steel. No time at all. I mean, I used that frame obviously because I had it, but if you had brackets, you'd be away in no time at all. And I loved it so much, I made another one because I decided that I was going to change the trike to a quad. And I go, that's going to upset some people who wanted to see a trike. But I like the quad much better actually because I want to motorise the quad. Now, of course that can be an issue, and somebody asked me what was the point and could I do a planning session. Unfortunately, of course, quite often when you're doing something you actually plan as you go along, and things can change just as you're working on them. They aren't complete in themselves. It's another thing I like about things, because you're investigating really, and you don't need to be too rigid about stuff. Adapting and changing is all part of it, and the good stuff about this, it allows you to do that. So not only can you make finished products, you can actually make prototypes and do plans as you go along, costing you pennies, both in terms of the material that you're using and in the time that you're spending on it. So let me show you what it is that I've changed the Trike into. So here it is. Now what you can see I've done is I made an identical one to the back. Actually it's a little bit smaller, a little bit narrower, but it's the same wheel chassis that we made for the back. And I took the chassis that we made and basically just bolted it to this bit. Actually I glued a lot of pads on and bolted the pads to it. So instead of having a single wheel at the front, all we've done is replace it by a double wheel. So everything else is the same apart from that. And this is the thing that I actually want to stick a motor on. It's also something that I want to give a go because it's actually finished now. It doesn't have a motor at the moment, and because I've used double wheels, it's got no pedals either. So my motor is going to be Luke. I'm going to ask him if he'll push me up and down the car park, because I really want to make this with the motor, and I want to make sure that it'll work and actually take my weight. So we'll see if Luke will push us up and down the car park and see how this thing works. Okay, so that was awesome, actually. I mean, it really was. It steers like a fish. Looks like a cow, but steers like a fish. So we replaced the plastic parts with some steel. And we used that plastic, actually, because I changed my mind halfway through, hey? And used it as a prototype development. Nothing wrong with that. That plastic does great for finished product. It's great for prototype. Loving that machine. It weighs next to nothing. And we're going to stick a motor on it, because we clearly can't be running up and down the car park. I'll get that motor on, give you a look at what it looks like with the motor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching.